If you don't talk much in between, it will be over by 8:15. Otherwise, it will take 5-10 more minutes. So let us finish it fast. Question 13. From the following information of P Company Limited, calculate proprietary ratio. Proprietary ratio means owner's funds upon total assets and owner's funds and equity both. Yes, Tarun? Once I start reading and discussing, concentrate on that only. Owner's funds and equity both is share capital plus reserves. Let us do the markings. Equity share capital, where will it come? Here owner's fund. Equity is also correct, but here it will come in owner's funds. Mark it as OF. Preference share capital, owner's funds. Mark it as OF. Reserves and surplus, owner's funds. Mark it as OF. Non-current liability, no relevance. In proprietary ratio, it is of no relevance. Otherwise, it is debt. Current liabilities, no relevance. Non-current assets, total assets, mark it as TA, and current assets also total assets TA. So first we'll find owner's funds and total assets, then apply the formula. Okay, Swara and Disha, be attentive to what is going on. So how do we get owner's funds? In this question? And how will we get total assets? This how will we get total assets? Be attentive to what is going on. Yes, write down. First, equity share capital, preference share capital, 8 lakhs. Reserves and surplus, 4 lakhs. So 24 lakhs is owner's funds. Is everyone clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Then total assets we have to find. So non-current assets, 12 lakhs. Current assets, 24 lakhs. 36 lakhs total assets. And now we can apply the formula of proprietary ratio. Therefore, proprietary ratio is equal to owner's funds upon total assets. So 24 lakhs upon 36 lakhs, 0.67 is to 1. Did everyone understand this? Anyone having any doubt in it? Bonus in solving it? Raise your hand who is still solving it. Shall I take up with question 14? Everyone has completed? Look at question 14. From the following information of K Company Limited, calculate interest coverage ratio. Now, what is the formula of interest coverage ratio? Earnings before interest and tax divided by interest on long-term liabilities. Now, profit after tax is given, but we require earnings before interest and tax. 10% debentures is given 20 lakhs. Raise your hand. What relevant thing can be obtained from here? Only 2 people. Savage?
Interest on debentures.
Interest on debentures, that is interest on long-term liability. 20 lakhs, 10%, 2 lakhs. Taxes paid, 12 taxes paid will be of no relevance. It will help us in finding earnings before interest and tax. That we'll see. Same way from 12% loan, what can be obtained? Interest on loan, 10 lakhs into 12%, 1,20,000. Did you understand this? First, let us find interest. Then I'll explain you how to find earnings before interest and tax. Okay? Here down. Interest on debentures is equal to 20 lakhs into 10% is equal to 2 lakhs. Interest on loan is equal to 10 lakhs into 12%, 1,20,000. So 3,20,000 is interest on long-term liabilities. Any confusion in this? Now if you remember, I explained you yesterday that various profits which are available in the business. And then I explained you why do we take earnings before interest and tax. So understand how we will find earnings before interest and tax. We require profit or earnings before interest and tax. Don't write it, just understand. From that, if you minus interest, you get profit before tax. From that, if you minus interest, you get profit before tax. From that, you minus tax and you get profit after tax. Now here you are given with profit after tax. So we will have to go reverse to find earning before interest and tax. Profit after tax is given. If you go reverse, then minus will become plus. In that you will add tax. Tax is also given or not?
Yes.
We'll get profit before tax. In that you will add interest, 3,20,000. You will get profit before interest and tax. Did you understand this? So how we are going to find this earnings before interest and tax? By going reverse. Raise your hand who did not understand this. So show this rough calculation to understand how to go reverse. So write down profits after tax 7,50,000. Now we are going reverse. Profits after tax 7,50,000. Can you all see that in the question?
Yes.
What do we have to go reverse? Then we have to instead of minus we'll do add. Plus tax. What is tax in the question? 2,50,000. 10 lakhs. Now see if you go reverse. Profit after tax plus tax, you will get profit before tax. Did you understand this, everyone?
Yes.
Now further, if you go reverse, then what do we have to add? Interest. So plus interest 3,20,000. So 13,20,000 will be earnings before interest and tax. Is everyone clear with this calculation of earnings before interest and tax? Now we have to apply the formula. Therefore, interest coverage ratio is equal to earnings before interest and tax divided by interest on long-term liabilities. So earnings before interest and tax 13,20,000 divided by interest on long-term liabilities 3,20,000, 4.13 times. Here you write times. We discussed that first three ratios are expressed in proportion. The last one is expressed in times. So everyone is clear with this? Any confusions with solvency ratios? Now in the summary, the last ones, activity or turnover ratios. They all are expressed in times. All the activity or turnover ratios are expressed in times. Around 10 minutes concept I'll explain you first. So you remember the formulas here itself. Then we will write them. Okay. First of all, which are the two main activities of business? Buying and selling. In buying or purchasing, except a good bargaining and good price and good quality, no efficiency is required. You just have to see that you get a good rate, competitive rate, and you get a good quality. Main efficiency is required in which activity out of buying and selling? Selling activity. That efficiency is measured by activity or turnover ratio. So profitability ratios highlight the profitability of the business. Liquidity ratios show the short-term solvency of the business. Solvency ratios show the long-term solvency of the business. And activity or turnover ratios show the efficiency of sales in the business. How efficiently are you selling the goods is highlighted by activity or turnover ratios. Is everyone clear with it? 4 ratios are there. One is stock turnover, second is working capital turnover, third is debtors turnover, and fourth is creditors turnover. Remember 2 points and you'll remember the formulas automatically. It is reverse of profitability ratios. In profitability ratios, numerator was ratio itself. Gross profit ratios, numerator gross profit. Operating ratios, numerator operating cost, which is cost of goods sold plus operating expense. Operating profits ratio, numerator operating profit. Net profit ratios, numerator net profit. Here, denominator is the ratio itself. Means in stock turnover, it's reverse. In stock turnover, the denominator is stock. In working capital turnover, the denominator is working capital. In debtors turnover, the denominator is debtors. In creditors turnover, the denominator is creditors. Then, profitability ratio denominator was sales. Here numerator is sales. So first thing you have to remember, it's reverse of profitability ratios. Here numerator will be sales and denominator will be ratio. Now 2 more points to be understood. Numerator will not be exactly the sales. It will be a variable of sales. Something related to sales. What related to sales? Sales with logic, I'll explain. Okay, but numerator will not be exactly the sales. It will be something related to sales. It will be a variable of sales. And denominator will be the ratio itself but average. Means instead of stock, you will take average stock. Instead of debtors, you will take average debtors. Instead of creditors, you will take average creditors. By average, that also I'll explain. Okay, so some modification is there. Repeat, numerator is a variable of sales. Denominator is the ratio itself, but average. Understood this? Now let us understand which variables of sales are used. In stock turnover, we take the numerator as cost of goods sold. Logic. We are finding stock turnover. Suppose in my business I am having a stock of 50,000. I am trying to find out how many times I sell it in the year. So today I purchase a stock of 50,000. Suppose I sell it in 1 month's time. Then again I purchase stock of 50,000. I sell it in 1 month's time. This way I sell it 12 times in a year. So I say that the stock turnover is 12 times. Okay, I am selling that stock, whatever is there in the business, 12 times in a year. Now, 50,000 stock, if I sell it 10 times in a year, 12 times in a year, then 50,000 into 12, 6 lakhs. But will I be selling it for 6 lakhs? I'll be selling it after adding profit. Means I'm selling it suppose for 7 lakhs. Now 7 lakhs cannot be divided by 50,000 to know how many times I'm selling it. Because what I'm selling for 7 lakhs, what is my cost? 6 lakhs. When I divide 6 lakhs by 50,000, then I come to know that I'm selling it 12 times during the year. So because stock is appearing at cost price, it should be compared also with the cost price of sales. And what is the cost price of that sales? Cost of goods sold. So in stock turnover ratio, which variable of sales will be used? Cost of goods sold. Because you are comparing it with stock, which is at cost. Is everyone clear with it? So in stock turnover ratio, which variable of sales will be used? Cost of goods sold. Because you are comparing it with stock, which is appearing at cost price. So you cannot compare it with sales. Any confusions with this?
No.
Second, working capital turnover. You take sales itself. Working capital turnover, you take it sales itself. Or you can also take cost of goods sold. It will be specified in the question. If nothing is specified, take sales. And if they mention, find it on the basis of cost of goods sold, then take cost of goods sold. Okay. Then third ratio, debtors turnover. Debtors can be correlated only with credit sales. So numerator will be credit sales. And creditors turnover. Creditors can be correlated with credit purchases. So numerator will be credit purchases. So here the numerator is a variable of sales. In stock turnover, which variable? Cost of goods sold. In working capital turnover, either sales or cost of goods sold. In debtors turnover, credit sales. And in creditors turnover, credit purchases. Understood this? Now denominator I told you is ratio itself but average. Understand it well. All the numerators are variable of sales. Sales is called as a flow concept. Means sales is between April to March. We don't take sales on 31st March. We take sales during the year. During the year means we take sales from 1st April to 31st March. We call it as a flow concept. It flows during the year. But denominator, if you take stock on 31st March, it is a static concept. It is taken at one point of time. So if you take stock on 31st March, working capital on 31st March, debtors on 31st March, creditors on 31st March, they all are static concept. Because we have to compare it with flow concept, which is during the year, we have to take denominator also a flow concept during the year. Now how can you find stock during the year? Average stock. Suppose in the beginning of the year, stock was 50,000. End of the year, stock is 60,000. Means on an average, how much stock is remaining during the year? 50 plus 60 divided by 2, 55,000. So why we take average? Because it gives you a rough idea of how much amount remains in the business during the year. So because numerator, which is a flow concept, denominator also we have to make flow concept. How do you convert this static concept into flow concept? By doing average. Exactly you don't get it, but roughly you get an idea on an average how much of stock is there during the year, how much are debtors during the year and how much are creditors during the year. Now listen carefully, if you go with specific formula. Debtors means we will not take debtors. As we studied in company final accounts, we will take trade receivables. What will trade receivables include? Debtors and bills receivable. Because bills receivable are also result of credit sales only. The only thing is debtors accept the bills. So debtors itself get converted into bills receivable. So when you find debtors turnover, you will take trade receivables. And when you find creditors turnover, you will take trade payables. Now formulas. Stock turnover. Numerator is which variable of sales? Cost of goods sold. Denominator average stock. Cost of goods sold divided by average stock. Working capital turnover. Numerator either sales or cost of goods sold divided by, we should take average working capital. But in your syllabus, because it involves many calculations, they have taken only working capital. Reason, working capital is current asset minus current liability. First find current assets in the beginning of the year. Then find current liabilities in the beginning of the year. Then find working capital in the beginning of the year. Current asset minus current liability. Then find current asset at the end of the year, current liability at the end of the year, working capital at the end of the year. Then find average, opening plus closing divided by 2. Becomes very lengthy for 4 marks question. So in your syllabus, working capital they are not doing average. Simply sales or cost of goods sold divided by working capital. Debtors turnover, which variable of sales? Credit sales divided by average trade receivables. And creditors turnover, which variable of sales? Credit purchases divided by average trade payables. You will remember this. So if you remember the concepts, then all the 4 formulas you will remember here. It's the numerator is variable of sales. Denominator is ratio itself but average. In stock turnover, which variable of sales? Cost of goods sold. In working capital, sales or cost of goods sold. In debtors turnover, credit sales. And in creditors turnover, credit purchases. Except working capital, everywhere else you will take average. Any confusions in this? There are 2 main points, then we'll write the formulas. First, in all the ratios, numerator will be variable of sales. Okay. Second point, in all the ratios, denominator will be the ratio itself, comma, but average. Any confusion in this? So as I said to you, 14 formulas, but when you solve it, you will find you remember them in the class. The actual concepts are clear, all the formulas are very simple. Okay, now write down the 4 ratios. Now first one, stock turnover ratio is equal to which variable of sales? Cost of goods sold divided by average stock. Is everyone clear with this? Working capital turnover either sales or cost of goods sold. If nothing is mentioned in the question, then sales divided by working capital. Any confusion in this? Debtors turnover 3A. Mark it as 3A. Debtors turnover. Which variable of sales? Credit sales. Divided by average trade receivables. Understood this? Now be attentive. Debtors turnover is of no use in the business. Why we find debtors turnover is to know we recover the money from debtors in how much period. So for example, suppose debtors turnover comes 6 times. How many times? 6. Means in the year you are selling the goods to the debtors 6 times in a year. So 12 months divided by 6 times. It means we are recovering the money every 2 months. Today you sell the goods to the debtors. He pays you the money after 2 months. Then after 2 months again you sell the goods. Then again he pays the money after 2 months. Again that way you sell it 6 times. Every 2 months you sell him the goods. So debtors turnover is of no use. What is of our interest? Collection period. Are we able to recover the money in time or not? So 3B. How do we find this collection period? If you want to find it in months, then 12 months. If you want to find it in weeks, then 52 weeks. If you want to find it in days, then 365 days. Divided by debtors turnover. Understood this? Like I explained, you have debtors turnover is 6 times. Means 12 months divided by 6. Every 2 months we recover the money. Today you sell the goods, recover after 2 months, then again after 2 months you sell the goods. So 6 times in a year you sell the goods and recover every 2 months. Is everyone clear with this? Any doubts in this? By the way, in exercise solutions, everywhere it's mentioned as an information that assume 360 days in a year. If any information is given, then take that many number of days. If no information is given, then take 365. Because probability of 365 is more than 366. Okay, 366 is once in 4 years and 365 is 3 in 4 years. Probability is more. So we'll take 365 days if nothing is mentioned. Is everyone clear with it? 4A. Creditors turnover. Yes, don't get confused. We are doing accounts only, no statistics. Okay, I was just discussing why 365 days. Creditors turnover. Yes, which variable of sales? Credit purchases. Divided by average trade payables. Is everyone clear with this? And same way 4B, payment period. How will you find the payment period like collection period? If you want in months, 12 months. If you want in weeks, 52 weeks. If you want in days, 365 days. Divided by creditors turnover. Is everyone of you clear with this? Who is not clear? Raise your hand. Who is not clear with it? All are clear?
Yes.
Now here we don't have to see many formulas because they are already done earlier. Like for example, we have already seen cost of goods sold formula earlier. Opening stock plus purchase plus direct expense minus closing stock. Then in operating ratio, one more formula I made you write. Sales minus gross profit. You can also obtain it as sales minus gross profit. And if gross profit is given, apply this formula only. Sales minus gross profit. Okay. Then in practical questions, when we did gross profit ratio, we also obtained it as cost of goods consumed plus direct expenses or factory expenses plus wages. Then in one of the illustrations which I took up in the class, we also obtained cost of goods sold with changes in stock were given. Then we obtained it as purchases plus purchase expenses plus changes in stock. So all that concepts will apply on cost of goods sold. Okay. Average, how we have to do? Write down at the bottom where average is equal to, I am writing it here so that everyone can see. You write it at bottom only. Where average is equal to opening plus closing divided by 2. So in all the averages, same formula. Means here average stock opening stock plus closing stock divided by 2. Opening trade receivables plus closing trade receivables divided by 2. Opening trade payables plus closing trade payables divided by 2. Is everyone clear with this? Yes. And sales we have seen, cost of goods sold we have seen, working capital formula also we have seen earlier. Current assets minus current liabilities, credit sales. Trade receivables we have seen in company final accounts. Trade receivables is equal to debtors plus bills receivables. And same way trade payables we have seen in company final accounts. Creditors plus bills payable. Did everyone understand this? So anyone having any doubt in this? Look at question number 15. Yes, dear reader. No. Question 15. Calculate stock turnover ratio from following information of L Company Limited. Stock turnover ratio means cost of goods sold upon average stock. Sales is 30 lakhs. Closing stock is 2,50,000. Now gross profit rate is given. So which formula we will use for cost of goods sold? Sales minus gross profit. Opening stock is given, purchases is given. Which other formula can be used for cost of goods sold? Opening stock plus purchase minus closing stock. Don't use that, you get wrong answer. Because there is lack of information. Purchase expenses are not given. So the only way to find cost of goods sold here is sales minus gross profit. And average stock, how we will find? Opening stock plus closing stock divided by. Any doubts in this? Let us solve it. Write down. Sales is equal to 30 lakhs minus gross profit 30%, so 30 lakhs into 30%, 9 lakhs. 21 lakhs is cost of goods sold. Did you understand this? See, if you would have done opening stock 3,50,000 plus purchase 12 lakhs, 15,50,000 minus closing stock 2,50,000, you would have got 13 lakhs, which is wrong. It means purchase expenses are 8 lakhs, which is not mentioned in the question. Did you understand this? So this is the only way to find when sales and gross profit is. Any doubt in it? And then average stock is equal to opening stock plus closing stock divided by 2. So opening stock is 3,50,000 plus closing stock 2,50,000, that is 6 lakhs divided by 2, 3 lakhs. Is everyone clear with it? And therefore stock turnover ratio is equal to cost of goods sold divided by average stock. Cost of goods sold 21 lakhs divided by average stock 3 lakhs, so 7 times. Did everyone understand? It means whatever stock is remaining in the business, on an average 3 lakhs of stock is remaining in the business, that we are selling it 7 times in the year. Is everyone clear with this? Question 16 is also on stock turnover. Look at it. Raise your hand who is still solving question 15. Everyone has completed? So look at question 16. Calculate stock turnover ratio from the following information of Y Company Limited. Opening stock, market as COGS. Sales, here gross profit is not given. Means we have to find it in traditional manner only. Purchase expenses market as COGS, closing stock COGS, purchases COGS, wages COGS. How will we find it? Opening stock plus purchases plus purchase expenses plus wages minus closing stock. An average stock in the same manner. So write down. Opening stock what happened? Any doubts? Let's see in front only. Opening stock 3,50,000 plus purchases 2 lakhs plus purchases 22 lakhs plus purchase expenses 1 lakh plus wages 2,50,000 minus closing stock 1,50,000. So 2, 24, 25, 26 lakhs. 26 lakhs is cost of goods sold. Is everyone clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Now average stock in the same manner. Raise your hand who is still finding cost of goods sold. So average stock is equal to opening stock plus closing stock divided by 2. Means 2 lakhs is opening stock plus 1,50,000 is closing stock, 3,50,000 divided by 2, 1,75,000.
Yes.
Understood this everyone? Therefore, turnover ratio is equal to cost of goods sold divided by average stock. Cost of goods sold 26 lakhs divided by average stock 1,75,000. 14.86 times. Okay, don't forget to mention times. So everyone is clear with stock turnover ratios calculation?
Yes.
Who are still solving 16th question? Raise your hand. Shall I raise it? Everyone has done it. Now look at 17th question. Calculate working capital turnover ratio in bracket based on sales and cost of goods sold. Means we have to apply both the formulas. We have to take sales also and we have to take cost of goods sold also. 2 times we will apply the formula. 1 time taking sales in the numerator and 1 time taking cost of goods sold in the numerator. From the following information of Z Company Limited. Cost of goods sold 32 lakhs. Non-current assets is of no relevance. Non-current liabilities is of no relevance. Now gross profit is given. So how would you find sales? Cost of goods sold plus gross profit. You'll go reverse. Okay. Cost of goods sold is sales minus gross profit. So minus gross profit if you bring on the left side, then what will sales be equal to? Cost of goods sold plus gross profit. Is everyone clear with this? And current assets minus current liabilities, we will get working capital. So first we find sales. Cost of goods sold 32 lakhs. Plus gross profit 8 lakhs. So 40 lakhs is sales. Are you all clear with this?
Yes, sir.
And working capital also we can find. Current assets 5 lakhs. Minus current liabilities 3 lakhs.
2 lakhs.
So working capital is 2 lakhs. Is everyone clear with this? Now 2 times we have to apply the formula. So first, based on sales, working capital turnover is equal to sales divided by working capital. Okay, sales means 40 lakhs. Divided by working capital is 2 lakhs.
20.
So 20 times. And B based on cost of goods sold. Working capital turnover is equal to cost of goods sold divided by working capital. Now cost of goods sold is 32 lakhs divided by working capital is 2 lakhs, so 16 times. Did you all understand this? Question 18. Creditor. From the following information of B Company Limited, calculate debtors turnover, and debtors turnover and underline collection period in days. Days means, but if you see at the end in bracket, assume 360 days in a year, so it take 360 days divided by debtors turnover. Okay. If that bracket assume 360 days would not have been given, then you would have taken 365 days. Further, what will be the answer if collection period is calculated in terms of weeks and months? In short, all the three you will find. Days also, weeks also, months also. Now to find debtors turnover, we require credit sales and trade receivables. Okay, trade receivable means debtors plus bills receivable. See that? Total sales, no relevance. Opening debtors market is TR. Opening bills receivable market is TR. Opening creditors, no relevance. Credit sales will be our numerator directly. Closing debtors TR and closing bills receivable also TR. Closing creditors, no relevance. Credit sales is directly given. So we just need to find average trade receivables and apply the formula. Put on average trade receivables is equal to opening trade receivables plus closing trade receivables divided by 2. Okay, now opening trade receivables. Who are still writing this formula? Raise your hand. Completed? Anyone still writing the formula? Raise your hand. Now opening trade receivables will include opening debtors plus opening bills receivable. What are opening debtors? 70,000 plus opening bills receivable 20,000. So these are opening trade receivables 90,000. Raise your hand who did not understand this. Same way, closing trade receivables will include closing debtors and closing bills receivable. What are closing debtors? 50,000 plus what are closing bills receivable? 6,000 divided by 2. So 70, 90, 140, 146 divided by 2, 73,000. Average trade receivables are 73,000. Is everyone clear with it? Credit sales is directly given, so we have to apply the formula now. First, debtors turnover is equal to credit sales divided by average trade receivables. credit sales is given as 3,65,000.
Credit sales.
Credit sales, total sales is not to be considered.
Yes.
So credit sales 3,65,000 divided by average trade receivables 73,000 means 5 times. Did everyone understand this? Now, collection period. Either 12 months or 52 weeks or 360 days. In this question it is clearly given, so 360 days divided by debtors turnover. Very first collection period is asked in days or weeks or months? Days. So in days it will be equal to 360 divided by 5, 72 days. Okay, in days it will be equal to 360 days divided by debtors turnover is 5 times. So 360 divided by 5, 72 days. Same way, in weeks, after days what is asked?
Weeks.
So how will you find it in weeks? 52 divided by 5, 10.4. And how will you find it in months? 12 months divided by 5, 2.4 months. Did you all understand this? And the last question of the chapter. Raise your hand who is still solving 18. Everyone has completed? Look at question 19. Be attentive. Only 1 point different is there compared to 18th question. From the following information of C Company Limited, calculate creditors turnover, underline that, and underline payment period in days. First of all, payment period is asked in days. Then what will be the answer if payment period is calculated in terms of underline weeks and underline months? In bracket again assume 360 days in a year. Opening balances, creditors marked as TP, trade payables. Bills payable, TP. Bills receivable, no relevance. Debtors, no relevance. Creditors, TP. Closing balances. Bills payable, TP. Bills receivables and debtors, no relevance. Credit sales, cash sales, total sales, no relevance. Now total purchase and cash purchase, but credit purchase is not available. How will you find credit purchase? Total purchase minus cash purchase. This is the only different point. Did you understand this? So, let us find first credit purchases. Total purchases. ₹6 lakhs. Minus cash purchases 2,40,000. 3,60,000 is credit purchases. Now average trade payables is equal to opening trade payables plus closing trade payables divided by 2. Now as we did in the previous question, trade payables will include creditors and bills payable. What are opening creditors? 45,000 plus what are opening bills payable? 15,000. So 45 plus 15 gives us opening trade payables. Same way, plus what are closing creditors? 40,000 plus closing bills payable 20,000. So this gives us closing trade payables. Divide by 2. 45 plus 15, 60, and 60 divided by 2, 60 only. Average trade payables are also 60,000. Is everyone clear with it? Remind me, after this question, I want to discuss one point of bad debt reserve. Just remind me, okay? Here it is of no relevance. Now after this we can find creditors turnover. Creditors turnover will be equal to credit purchases divided by average trade payables. Credit purchases 3,60,000 divided by average trade payables 60,000. So 6 times. Understood this? And you're also asked payment period. So payment period is equal to months or 52 weeks or 360 days as per the information divided by creditors turnover. So in days, how we will find it? 360 divided by 6, 60 days. Okay, 360 days divided by creditors turnover 6 times, so 60 days. In weeks, 52 weeks divided by 6, 8.67 weeks. And in months, 12 months divided by 6, 2 months. So the chapter is all are clear with this very scoring chapter again. And be attentive that BDR point what I was discussing. In current ratio and liquid ratio, in liquidity ratios, what did I tell you regarding BDR? How will you take debtors and bills receivable? After deducting bad debt reserve. Here in these two questions, bad debt reserve is not given. But if it was given, would you have taken debtors, this creditors turnover, would you have taken the debtors after deducting BDR or before deducting BDR? Here before deducting. Because we are trying to find mainly collection period. And will you make efforts to recover full money, or in the beginning itself you will give up your hands that we cannot recover this much is doubtful. You will make efforts to recover full money. So in this ratio, debtors will be taken before deducting BDR. Write this as a note. Write this as a note, it is there in illustrations. In a summary, write this as a note. Silence! While calculating debtors turnover, Debtors should be taken before deducting BDR. Debtors should be taken before deducting BDR. That is, ignore BDR. Means if bad debt reserve is given in the question, ignore that. Is everyone clear with it? Remaining 21 to 32 illustrations are your homework.